Good evening. Hello, Team All In. Great to see you all tonight. I'm so excited for you to hear this presentation. As you know, I follow the Wisdom Builder training, and sometimes there's just something that I really feel it will speak to your heart and it'll help to impact your businesses and just give you some amazing tips and tools. I think if anything, all the tips and tools that are shared amongst us, I think it's important just to keep sharing and why, try to reinvent things. So let's listen in and then we'll have a great discussion after we hear this amazing presentation.
So this morning we have the pleasure of getting to hear from Jen. I don't know if Matt's with you, Jen, but it looks like it's just you. Jen Case this morning. Those of you that were at Impact Summit heard, and I forget the exact number, but it's something like personally recruited 58 or something like that. I think, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, since January, just this year, personally recruited like 58 or 56. And probably, I'm guessing you're probably up over 65 or 70 by now, because that's outdated information. So I just want to let everybody know that what Jen and Matt are doing is working, and it's working better than, they're recruiting, they're one of the top, if not the top recruiter in our entire organization for 2024. Wow, we're in 2024. So what she has to share, I would pay really close attention to. And with that, I want to turn it over to you, Jen, and talk about the power of sharing other people's stories and recruiting other club members and promoters. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. No pressure, right? Good morning. I'm so happy to be on this call with y'all. And Alan asked me to talk a little bit about growing our business using stories. And I want to share a little bit about how I use stories, y'all's stories, to grow my business and to build credibility with prospects. And I just want to tell you this quick story real quick. I was walking into the gym with my workout buddy and my dear friend, and out of the corner of my eye, I see our fearless leader full speed ahead on his phone, multitasking. And I went home and I told Matt, I said, man, if I did that, I would fall on my face. And if there was an Olympic sport, Alan Blaine would absolutely get the gold medal. I'm telling you. But anyway, so needless to say, I hopped on the treadmill right next to him and I started telling him stories, which I think is what kind of led us here. So back to the power of storytelling. So for me, stories build trust. It's the best way in my business to build trust with my customers and my prospects, and more importantly, to establish long-term relationships with people that you want to believe right alongside you. And I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. If you ever get that phone call from the customer or the club member that wants to upgrade to a promoter because they're like, wow, this is incredible, I got to share this with everybody. Or even just the club member, like I got a call yesterday that it was confirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's purpose driven, right? He just called me and he was like, man, I'm down 15 pounds. I'm never going to stop taking this. I feel the best I've ever felt in a long time. And I was like, wow, like that's what we all want, right? We all want people to believe in this the way we believe in this. Storytelling, or story selling, as it's often referred to, is the most powerful source on the planet to connect, persuade, and influence someone. It's an incredible marketing and leadership tool, y'all. We can use other stories to reinforce the connection between the person or the customer and the products that we have. For instance, I don't know if you've ever heard of David and Chandel Thompson. Well, I share his story all the time, and I don't even know, I can't even tell you if I've met them. I don't think I've met them. I'm pretty sure I haven't met them, but I feel like I have. I feel like I've met them because I literally share his story all the time. If someone comes up and they've got a history with diabetes, I'm on it. I'm telling them about David Thompson. Or if it's someone that has had to battle with cancer, I'm connecting them with Louie, or I'm telling them Sue Hamilton's story. It's not enough for me to just tell my story, And so anyways, we have to match the story with the need. And so I've had a lot of people, especially after Summit, reach out to me and ask me like, well, what are you doing? Or what are you doing different? And I feel like I've had to get back to the basics. I took something that felt like it came really easy or really natural for me. And I took what worked and started really overcomplicating things. So we've got to keep it simple, y'all. And I'm horrible. I'm the worst at it because I just want to, I don't know. I'm all about taking something really simple and making it harder for myself. I don't know why. I just do. I don't know if y'all can relate, but Matt and I are really saturated in our community. At least we try to be. You know, we try to get out there and we try to build relationships and network, whether it's at church or the gym, whether it's at the ball field with the kids. And most of you know that we've really found our niche with these farmers markets. We love these farmers markets. And years ago when I first started, not really knowing what I was doing, people would come up to my booth and I would just start spitting out this word salad. I just wanted them to know everything that I knew about Neolife. And so, you know, here lately, I kind of sit back and I wait for people to kind of browse. And then I just ask them and I just say, hey, have you ever heard of Neolife? And more often than not, they tell me no. And in order to be relatable, I just say, well, that's okay. I hadn't heard of them either, you know, until about 5 years ago. And so one of the things, and I don't know where I heard it, it was probably Alan, but I love it so much. And I've always repeated it verbatim is that these products, there's a reason why Neolife products aren't sitting on a shelf in Walmart or a vitamin shop. And if you've ever been to a vitamin shop, I had never, and I went into one a couple of days ago and it's just wall to wall and aisles of supplements. And I just walked through there with this peace and this confidence, knowing that y'all, we have the best of the best products, right? And so, you know, these products deserve a story. There needs to be an explanation or a story behind them. And which is why for me at the farmer's market, I love it because in order for me to build that connection and establish that relationship, I have an order in which that I do things. And I always will tell my story, which I think is a pretty decent story, right? You know, I don't think it carries a whole lot of weight just being on products for 5 years, but I tell my family story, and my family story is this. I usually have a stack of Marjorie's testimony and a stack of Nicole's testimony. And by the end of the day, those papers are gone, you know. So each Saturday I have to read up on these because whether it's a club member or someone that just wants information, but usually, and I love to be able to say, you know, this woman's testimony, she shared it with her about almost 25 years ago, and she shared it with me 5 years ago, which is why I stand up here and I get to share it with y'all. So I love that. I love being able to share that, you know, that's the beauty of it, to be able to go from Marjorie to Nicole to me. And then the other thing that I always do, and this is one thing that I've been just unwavering on, is that once I've established that relationship and that connection, I always send them straight out the gate. And someone asked me this recently, like, well, what do you send? Well, I send BlaneStory.com. Always. I send 5 key criteria and I send 5 key criteria solution. And the reason I do that is because of that third party credibility. And there's something about just sending that 5 key criteria as though I'm trying to sell them something. I want them to know, and this is what I tell them. And maybe Nicole and Alan didn't introduce you guys to this, but at the same time, like, we're all a team. They're all, you know, they're our upline. And so for me, and I don't even use those terms. I usually just say, like, I want to send you this video testimony. These are the people that introduced this to me, and it's completely changed my life. And so those are the order in which I do things. I send BlaneStory.com 5 key criteria and 5 key criteria solution. But let me preface by saying this. I don't think it's a good idea to ever send the link without trying to build that connection first, right? Links and videos are not going to help sell Neolife, and they're not going to help us build our business. We have got to continue to, again, like I said earlier, match the story with the products, whatever people are interested in. So, and we are a community filled with stories, life-changing stories. It's not just, you know, here, take this vitamin. I mean, these are stories of hope. And so I was looking at this research study that was done that suggests that facts are 20 times more likely to be remembered if they're part of a story. Stories create powerful connections between the storyteller and the story listener. And I believe that a good storytelling and a good story listening must go hand in hand. So if you're anything like me and you like to just, you know, start talking, I feel like I've gotten better. Matt will tell you otherwise, but I've gotten better. He'll sometimes nudge me, you know, to listen a little bit better. But I wanted to ask y'all, do you use the Healthy Living site? Do y'all continue to add people to that Healthy Living site? Because when I first started, I used to add people constantly, left and right. And I had just added about 4 or 5 people the other day, and it dawned on me, I thought, why am I not using this? Why am I not using this Healthy Living community? Not only that, why am I not encouraging people to post their testimonies? You know, I've posted my testimony, but that was 5 years ago, you know? And so I don't know, it dawned on me and I was kind of convicted about it. I thought, this is such an awesome tool, y'all. Why are we not using this more? So we should be adding people to it every day and encouraging our club members, promoters, whoever, to add their stories to it. So, you know, and the other thing I wanted to say too, and y'all know me, I like to bring a little recovery into it. And the reason I do that is because this is my ministry. Whether it's, you know, I work in ministry and I like to consider this my ministry. And so one of the things that's really important to me is to living out the 12 steps. And it doesn't have to be for people that are just addicts. It's that step 12 is after having a spiritual experience as a result of this, right? We like to carry the message to others. And for me, that's applicable to anything that we do in life, right? After having this health transformation, we want to carry this message to others, and it's a message of hope. And I love that because I feel like no matter who I meet, every single person that I meet, no matter where I go, I have this solution in my back pocket, and I know that I could share it with someone. And I just love that. I love that this is what it's all about, right? Sharing stories and giving people hope. We all know, or at least I hope that we all know, that this is such a worthy endeavor. I get choked up every time I think about it because I think, gosh, like, what if I would have missed this, you know? And there's so many people that are missing this. And I said it before at Summit, like we don't want to leave anybody behind. We want everybody to know about this and know, I mean, I'm just looking at faces right here, and I want them to know your story and your story and your story. And I talk about you, Aki, all the time, you know? It's like I say to Nicole after a farmer's market, I say, well, were your ears ringing today? I said, I've always talked about you all day long, you know? And so it is, but it's impossible for me to share this and do this without talking about the person that shared it with me. I will forever carry a gratitude for her pursuing me and asking me to link arms with her in this business. And so we can't ever stop sharing stories, you guys, or telling people and giving each other the respect in this business that it deserves. So anyways, I feel like, you know, story by story, connection by connection, we can build a massive empire and impact so many lives, you guys. So anyways, that's all really I have to share, but have a blessed day. I appreciate you letting me hop on here.
Jen, I appreciate that. I don't know, we've got a little bit of extra time. So if anyone has any questions for you or commentary, we've got a few minutes to do that before we close with a couple important announcements. For those that hopped on late, I think about only half of you were on the call when we started right at the top of the hour. And I shared that for those that missed Impact Summit, and didn't get to hear, Jen and Matt have personally sponsored, well, I don't know exactly, but around 70 people, give or take 5, somewhere in that range since January. So they're averaging 8 or 9 personal recruits a month, I think, if I'm doing my math right. And it just goes to show, and that's why I asked Jen to come on here, because we keep seeing it. She's been the master of introducing and connecting people to other people. Always has been. Always connecting people to Nicole and me, always connecting us. And I know it's not just us. I know she's doing it with many of you, sideline, downline, cross line, X line, whatever kind of lines you can draw. Like, she's a master at it. And I'm like, this is so powerful. We're not doing it good enough. We can always get better at everything, but this is one thing we can all grow in. I know we can. So anyway, any questions or comments or anything that you might have for Jen, since we have maybe 5 more minutes to open Q&A. If you all have anything to share, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, Jen, you mentioned 3 things that you send, 5 key criteria solution, and then you mentioned one other one. I didn't catch what that was.
So I personally, always, the very first thing I send to people is blamestory.com. And I'm not saying y'all have to do that, but for me personally, I feel like it opens the door for people to see real life change. You know, it invites you into someone's living room, Alan and Nicole sitting there, just being real and candid, and a lot of people can identify with just the pain and just the hopelessness of just Nicole not wanting to get out of bed and just not feeling good, you know? And so I feel like that in itself tugs on people's heartstrings, and it makes them want more. So it makes them want to go, okay, well, I want to watch this next video. And then, of course, after I send those 3, you know, I always follow up, or even if it's someone else's testimony. And I even said to someone yesterday, I was like, hey, what did you think about those videos? I said, oh, fun fact. I said, you know, that beautiful short brown hair girl in the green jacket? And they were like, oh yeah, she's great. And I said, well, she actually takes the product. I said, she is a product of the product. And not only that, I said, she is an amazing partner, an amazing dear friend, you know, and I just, you know, shout out to Lisa Whitman. She's just incredible. But, and that's just it. You know, I've got a story about her and a story about, you know, all of you, you know, I'm always talking about you guys behind your back, you know, so.
I love it. That's the good kind of gossip right there. That's good stuff. Thank you. Yeah, so use Blaine Story all you guys want. We spent a good bit of, you know, it was professionally done. Not that you need a professional video, but we did that back in 2018 because we wanted a tool anyone could use. I mean, Jen uses it way more than we use it. It's so much easier to tell someone else's story than your own. Hey, watch a video of myself. No, watch a video of my business partner, and we're all business partners. So it doesn't matter if we're your sponsor or not. Hattie, right. And then Scott. I see your hands up.
Hey, Jen, that was fantastic. Thank you. I just wanted to like pull all the stuff out of your head, like that never had time to do it. Anyways, did you say that you have printed up testimonies at your booth?
So I have, so at my booth, I usually have a stack of Marjorie's, and then a stack of Nicole's, which, you know, and they're brief, and they're not like pages and pages of a testimony. It's something that someone can grab and read it. And it just adds so much credibility. Like Alan said, like I can stand up there all day long and talk about myself and people just think I'm full of it, you know? But when you can truly say like, hey, these people, this is the type of thing that people put in their mouth and they don't want to ever get off of it. I mean, I know we do see people stop taking it, but I'm just saying, like, it speaks volumes to the longevity and how many people get on this and stay on it for years and years and years and years. So yeah, two stories that testimonies at my booth, Nicole's and Marjorie's.
Do you write them up yourself, or do you have?
I have copies. Absolutely. Nicole's updating hers, right, Nick? She's updating hers, and so I'm gonna print those off. But yeah, I'm sure Marjorie has them. I can email them to you.
I believe, if I remember right, if you go to wisdombuilders.com, and I could be wrong about this, but it's worth checking. And in the Q&A, search Marjorie, and maybe even
it is on there, Alan.
Okay, thank you. There should be a PDF of both.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There's so many resources in that Q&A that are searchable. You all like,
yeah,
many. I mean, if you ever have a customer that, for whatever reason, wishes the Pro Vitality was the old version, I'm not sure why they would, but if you do, I mean, there's something in there you can search Pro Vitality and have an answer for them. Like, there's a lot of resources in that Q&A that are searchable to all of you. Side point.
Well, thank you. And a word just to the Blaine story. I forgot about that. Just to be honest with you, life gets busy and I forget about the tools that we have. And that was, Ellen, that was the thing that really spoke to Emily Clark. Emily and Terrence, remember them? That's what I used. Do you remember when you said, hey, you got to remember what you did? Well, I'd forgotten. Anyways.
Right? Get back to
Love
the
you.
basics. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I'm the same, Hat. I'm the same. You know, and I had someone ask me the other day, they were like, can I use that? And I said, heck yeah. Use all you want. It's not a requirement, but I mean, it's a suggestion because it works.
That's
You know,
so
people
great.
relate to the pain and stuff. So anyways, who is
Yeah.
it?
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Scott.
As far as testimonies, I also believe you can get them in the resource library in Neolife. But one thing that you remind me of is at Celebrate Recovery on Wednesday, I did a lesson on the give, and they talked about service, and Daryl Verling from Biblical Mastery Academy always says, do the small consistent steps will get you through. And that is so good for everything, I think. Just remember the small consistent steps, and that's basically what Jen was talking about.
That's good, Scott. What a great reminder. One of
Thank you,
my
Scott.
favorite books is The Compound Effect, and it talks about it's all about that, how small little positive steps can compound and turn into incredible results in any aspect of our life. I love that. Callie.
Okay, so mine
Yeah.
is hi, Jen. And this is just her even saying that right there is exactly what I wanted to highlight. I'm sitting here listening to her respond to everybody. And she's like nicknaming everybody, like talking to Nicole. It's like, right, Nick? And then she's talking to Hattie. And I was like, hey, right, Hattie? Or Hat? Like, you're like, cut everybody's name down, right? And the only reason I'm saying this is because when we're dealing with people, like Jen is going to love you like you're her best friend, no matter who you are. And I think that that is an important ingredient to understanding like why she's so successful to the people that she talks to. And like she doesn't have any doubt in her mind that what she has is going to help, for one. And two, like that's not an expectation that you should listen to her. She doesn't expect you to do it, but she just expects you to be like she just loves you, and people are open to listening to her suggestion for listening to this testimonial because they genuinely feel like she cares about them. And I just want to remind, when my mom talked about me as growing up as a kid, she would say that whenever we would go to a park or something, you were never afraid to go up to new kids. She was like, you never held on to my leg. You always just went out. And when you went up to people, it was almost like, hi, I'm Callie and you will be my friend, is kind of how my personality came across. And I know that as I get older, sometimes I still feel the same way. I feel like Jen. I feel like when I meet somebody, they're my new best friend. But we can get inside our own heads and start thinking too much about their response going to be if I talk to them about Neolife. Are they going to think that I'm in some crazy pyramid scheme? Are they going to think that whatever, instead of just working from the place of love and knowing that we care about them and making them feel like, well, she feels like I feel like I'm her best friend when I'm around. So they have more of an inclination to listen to it. So I just wanted to.
Thank you. Well, and you know, I wanted
and let you know that everybody feels loved around you. And I think that that's why so many people are willing to trust you with their health concerns.
Thank you, Cal. That means so much to me. You know, one of the things I was telling someone the other day, I said, you know, honestly, I feel like He honors my business because like I care more about and I think we all do, like we care more about the person and their health than we do about the sale, you know. And quick little story, this just reminded me of it. So I got a club member last Saturday at my farmer's market, and it got busy like all at once. It was dead and then it got busy, and I'm trying to get this club member in. And then afterwards we were done, and I was, got the confirmation that it went through, and I said, hey, so I walked around, I said, hey, can I give you a hug? And she was like, I would love a hug. And so, obviously if you're not a hugger, I understand that, but I'm a hugger. And so anyways, I walked around, I gave her a hug, and she was like, oh, that felt so nice. She's like, can I get another one? And she's like, bring it in, and she said, you're supposed to hug for like 5 seconds, and I just thought, that's what I want. I want that. I want people to know that I genuinely care. I genuinely care about them. And so thank you. Thank you, Callie, for saying that. That means everything to me.
Love it. Yeah. What is it? It's like, several seconds of hugging before the dopamine is released or something like that.
Yeah. There's a study.
That's like 20 seconds, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like 6
you guys
seconds
go
of
to the
kissing.
farmer's market, you just see me hugging people.
It's 6 seconds of kissing and 20 seconds long of hugging. And if that's not true, don't tell me, because I've got Nicole convinced that's how long it takes to get the dopamine released. Either that or you take Upbeat, and it's been scientifically proven, and this is true, to raise your dopamine levels, the feel-good hormone that we all want more of, right? But in a healthy, obviously, manner. 36% in just 22 days. Is that not crazy?
It's amazing.
It's amazing. A couple things I wrote down here is thank you for reminding us about the Neolife Healthy Living community and adding people in there, or ATM system that we have, and also the Ideal Business Neolife for the business side of things. So 2 different Facebook groups. And that just reminded me to ask you all, beg you all, plead with you all, for you and your customers and promoters or whoever you hear those stories come back that, hey, yeah, I've lost, 10 pounds in the last 3 months, or, hey, you know what? My energy levels are up. I've only been on it 30 days or 6 months or 6 years. It doesn't matter what the story is, but any positive story, can we get those shared in the Neolife Healthy Living community? Because there is hundreds and hundreds of stories in there, but there have been very few posted in there with 12,000 members in months in 2024. We've kind of neglected that. So that's a little plug and plea for all of us to work as a team to get more in there and get it more active with stories, real life user stories. And I love what you shared, Callie. And I just kept thinking, I'm getting ready to do a reel on the top 5 books, according to me. If I had to boil hundreds of books I've read down into 5 books to live a successful life, what would they be? And one of them is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's all about those things, that smiling at people. I won't go through the book, but it's those basic things that we've gotten a long way away from as a society. And it's so helpful to get front of mind. But those are the things that make other people feel loved. And those are the things Jen does really well, and others of you as well. So if you haven't read How to Win Friends and Influence People, it should be read every single year on the year, and it's incredible. Just a couple closing comments I want to share real quick. Announcements, and then we'll wrap it.
I thought that was pretty powerful. I got really excited. I went back to watch the 5 Creek. I sent it out, but I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it again myself for a while. And I thought I'm going to watch these again. And I'd forgotten about how powerful they really were. And I have sent out Nicole's story, because you're right. It's very professionally done. And she talks from the heart. He talks from the heart. So it is definitely a tool that I'm going to be using. What are your thoughts? How did that make you all feel? You can unmute yourselves.
I just watched Blaine's story today, and I knew it was professional. It took me a little while. I thought, wow, these guys are really good. And then I thought, oh no, this is done professionally, because there's aerial shots and everything. And I thought, but it was so well done, and it was easy to watch, and because we know them, it's just like celebrating their good life with them. And I've got to use the 5 key criteria and the solution one, because they are clean and crisp, very professional.
Yeah.
She also said there was something else. She said something and I couldn't catch it before 5 key criteria and solution. She said
Blaine's
something.
story.
The story I sent you guys.
Okay, yeah. I missed it. So I could hear it. Okay, thanks.
.com.
Yeah, I wanted you guys to watch it because I know you've seen the 5 Creek criteria and the solution. And I wasn't sure who'd seen the Ellen Blaine, and I wanted you to watch that before we had a discussion, so you can understand the power of a story, right? And I'm tagging people in the Neo Life Healthy Living community all the time, but you're right that we haven't added new stories, and we've got a lot of new stories in our teams. So we got to keep adding and getting people to share their stories and their testimonials. And if it means you helping them even just create the words, Alan wants them to actually do the actual post themselves. But if you can help them to type it out and guide them what to say, if they're not sure what to say or how to type it, just encourage your club members and get them to do it, do it with them so that they get it. Sometimes they're intimidated by, uploading things to Facebook, right? So, okay. Anybody else? Joan, how'd you feel about all this?
Yeah, I like Jen.
Hmm.
I emulate Jen. That's the essence, right? Connecting with people and just making people feel warm, and she does that, and I like doing that too as well. So it's I think it's one of the things, the connection.
Yeah.
And the
You
story.
did say though, oh, sorry, go ahead, Joan.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes you forget the stories. Sometimes you try to give them too many facts and all that sort of stuff, but just tell the stories. And you could have, she was saying, have some of the facts in the stories, kind of thing. So true. Yeah, I have to remember that and remind my team that the stories is what count. People don't listen to the facts as much. Well, some do, some won't, and
Some, it depends if they start asking for it, right? Because I did meet somebody that, wanted to know more about the science. Like, okay, why, right? So then if they're asking that, then they're open for that, right? But most people, it's the stories that they remember. Yes,
I like when she said, "This is my ministries, a message of hope." I like when she said that. That
Yeah.
touched me. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
She also said that when she sends the, how we get people to go on the Healthy Living community, right? And then she said also to the Neo Life Business Builders. She said that, right? So if someone was interested in, we introduce them to that. So like if someone was interested, do we also let them join the Neo Life Business Builders? Is that what?
Yeah, I think the ideal business, I think, is what she meant.
The ideal business.
Yeah, the ideal business, so they can see all the activity and the recognition, and the business builders is for people that are
the ideal business. Okay. Yeah, she's really good, and she's such a warm person. So I mean, what's not to like? She's also, she's very bright and cheery and lovely and look good to look at too. So that helps, right? Yeah.
But it definitely is her energy and her positivity.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, she's very, very
Comes right
sweet.
through.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other feedback?
we're selling hope, right? That's
Mhm.
basically selling. And this just came to mind what I think Rico had said, if we can show people what is it? Let them feel how we feel, see what we see and feel how we feel. If you can get that across to people, they would join. They would want to be part of us, right? I guess it's a skill too,
Yeah.
And I've always said that when you're talking to someone, it's not about the sale. It's you talk from the heart, right? And you speak with them, and the money will come, the sale will come because and then it's what is important. She says match the story with the need. We gotta remember that too, right? That's one of the first things she said. So just being authentic, being yourself, and really showing that you care. People will see that, because they can see a person who's trying to sell versus and a person who really cares. So that's important, I think. Yeah.
Heather, you're muted now.
Yeah, I think really the key to before you send anything out, the key really does rest with building that relationship first, that trust, that caring, because I can send out all kinds of stuff and their stories, without the fast facts, I can send them, I can tag them all the time and they don't watch it.
Yeah.
They don't watch it. So the groundwork has to be there first and the follow-up.
Right.
If you just send something, you know,
Right.
unless they really get how important it would be for them
Mhm,
to understand the difference,
mhm.
it doesn't make a difference, right? So it's the relationship building,
Mm.
and caring enough to follow up and say, hey, you know, the only reason I'm sending this is because I really want to help you make a difference. I want to make a difference for you. I want you to get the kind of life that you want, the kind of health that you want, the kind of, you know, body that you want, whatever it is.
Mhm,
I'm here to help, and that's all I can do
mhm.
is share what I know, share what I have to offer.
And Heather, I think you were right with that. Like we used to just send everything and hear all the videos. Here's the information that you asked to read, and you're right. And then there's crickets. And I met somebody at the gym 3 days ago, and she was complaining about her shoulder, and she said, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that workout. I really did something." And you could tell she's struggling a little bit. And I just said, "Oh," I said, I'm really sorry to hear that." I said, "I see you in here all the time." I said, "Did you just overdo it?" And anyways, I said, "Are you taking anything natural to help with that?" And she said, "Well, no." And we started talking about omega-3s, and I shared a little bit my own story. I shared my mom's story. I shared Jack's story. I said, "Yeah." I said, anyways, I said, "Are you open to learning more, a little bit more about how this can help you?" So anyway, so I didn't send her the information right away. I texted her after, and I just said, it was really nice chatting with you. And her husband's having spinal surgery. So that's how we got on the topic of pain and injury with Jack's brain injury. And then, anyways, I ended up sending her. She said, "Can you just send me the information on the salmon oil?" So I did. And she ended up reading it. So again, sometimes I think what we do is we want them to get on it right away, right? Or like to see everything right away. But I think if we take our time, there's a better chance of them getting on board and staying on the products rather than jumping in
Yeah.
or ghosting us, right? Anyways, she just texted me now, said, "I'm sorry, just getting home." So I invited her to tonight, spoke to hubby, and we're both interested in the omega-3s. And and I sent her Nicole's story. So she's going to watch it tonight. So I think we have to be more patient, right? And do the baby steps and build a relationship and build that trust, just like Heather was saying, rather than just sending everything all the time, right? Okay. And
I have a
I
question.
find
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I have a question? So this young fellow, remember Thomas, the guy I met at the dealership. So he came. So he came on the Tuesday call, came on the Thursday call. So he liked what he heard, but he had to leave a little earlier, and so I sent him the recording, right? And I gave him a bunch of samples. So I said, okay, I'll touch base with you. And I didn't touch base like, okay, you got to do this by tomorrow. I didn't do that. I said I'll touch base with you in a couple of days to see, the samples that I gave you, right? So when someone does that, and it's like the next question obviously is, okay, what did you like? This, that, and the other, is what would you like to get started on? There are some people who, after doing all that, they'll go, okay, done. So what do you do with those kind of people? Do you go like, do you say, like, what would you say? Would you say, I'll follow up with you again, or what would you say?
have you did you ask them if he was still open?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I did say to him, I said, when you're done, I'll call you in a few days to see how you like the samples. I guess I gave him a few samples, right? So
Actually, it's better to say when it would be a good time for us to connect again. When can I call you? Not, I'm going to call you in a few days. When would be a good time for me to give you a
Yeah.
call back? Or
Yeah.
would you be open to doing a 3-way chat with my mentor, Nada, maybe to answer any questions that you may have?
yeah,
The 3-way
okay.
calling, we've been doing that a lot. And even 3-way chats. We did that with people at the market, with that Sean and I met at the market, and we're all in 3-way chats, all the people that we met. And she thanked them and had me there, introduced me, said, "I remember Nada, we were together." And so we're chatting in that group chat. And one of the girls in the chat, because I was at the cottage still with her, she said, and we offered to come and see her because she was really interested in, it was when I was leaving. And then Sean goes, but I could still come and see you. And she did, because we had that chat going for a couple of days, and Sean went and saw her and signed her up the other day. So
Yeah,
I
that's-
think
yeah.
keeping that communication in the group chat. So asking him, hey, would you be open to, to maybe connecting with Nada and doing a 3-way chat with us to
Yeah,
handle
because he did say, yeah, I'd like to meet you for tea. He said, I'd like to meet you for tea. So
Then go ahead and do that.
Pardon?
Then go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
him
so
for
what
tea.
I'm saying is but the thing is this, okay, meet for tea, fine. But then, I don't know whether it's because I don't know whether we should like drop in and say hello, whatever, in his work. I don't like that.
No,
because
no,
you
no,
don't
no,
want
no,
to think
no,
it-
no. You
that
make
kind
a
of thing,
tea,
right?
make a tea date.
Yeah,
and meet.
but he did say to him, yeah, I said, let's meet for tea. He said, sure, we'll do that. Or I would do a 3-way with you, right? Okay. Thanks.
There's gonna be different
Yeah,
scenarios
just
and different
depends.
situations, but
Yeah,
don't say, oh, I'll give you a call in a couple of days. Ask them, say, when would be a good
Yeah.
time for us to schedule a call?
yeah,
Right? Or would you be open to having a 3-way chat with my mentor Nada, and we can, get
Yeah.
on a 3-way call.
yeah.
Right?
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else before we go off to the other side?
I think the main thing is really getting them to verbalize their needs.
Mm,
So
yes.
important. So you could always go back to them and say, remember you mentioned about this. Are you still interested in it, right? If it's very vague and we're trying to sell them on ProVitality, I'm not saying anybody is here, but I'm just saying in general, we're trying to get them to buy ProVitality or whatever. It's kind of hard to sell them if we don't know their need. And you can always go back and ask, remind them of what they told you.
Yeah.
And that's the future if you want to like a future conversation as well too. I find if you get a lot of information too as well, even if it's non-related to Neolife too as well, you can always go back and talk to them non-Neolife to connect again, right? But I think the gathering of information is really huge before.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joan, because especially at a booth or something, or where you're just meeting people over whatever, and they say, yeah, I'm interested, send me some information. Really? Like the first thing I say is I will connect with them. Maybe it's just been a very quick thing. I will connect with them and I'll say, I'd love to send you some information. What are you interested in? What can I help you with? Right? What can I help you with? What are you looking for? So I do not want to send you, I've told them, I don't want to send you irrelevant information. We have all kinds of information, but what are you looking for?
Right.
I need to help you with that. Right. So they know you're not going to inundate them. I'm actually being serious about helping them with what they're looking for.
Yeah. And then sometimes they'll list off a whole bunch of things. And then I always say, what would be maybe the number one or the top two?
What's your top priority?
What's your top? Because,
what would really make a difference for you?
Yeah.
First.
At this point. And that's what we did with that Sean's lady. So so you have to really, because when they start listing 5 or 6 things, we could sell them all kinds of stuff. And then when they look at all the products, they get overwhelmed, and then they don't understand, the power of our products yet. Right.
Yeah.
And also I think it's important because when you do that and you sort of streamline it, then they know you genuinely want to help them and not sell a whole slew of things. Because firstly, they'll say, oh my gosh, it's going to be like so much and overwhelmed. But I think when you do that, they go, oh, okay, she's not trying to sell me a whole slew of things, but a couple of things at first. So I think that starts to make them trust you a little more, kind of thing, right? And not take them to the cleaner, so to speak, that for want of a better phrase, right? Yeah.
And along those lines, some people may already be taking things, but they don't equate the fact that, they're taking some digestive stuff from over here. Oh yeah, they've got to get their minerals, they're getting their calcium. Oh, but they've got this other drink that they take over here. So when you actually put it all together, they're already taking a lot of stuff, right? And so that's another question that I often sort of lead with, well, are you taking anything already? It's like Nada, you said, are you taking anything on the macro side to deal with some of the issues that you want a solution for? So, finding that. And I met with this one lady, we met over coffee, and she brought me her bag of stuff that she was taking, right? And of course, I don't know what these things are. So I asked her, what are you taking this for? What do you want? Like, what is this going to give you? And so then I could break it down to the result that she's getting out of these various things. I said, oh, wow, okay, now I can understand, these two things, we got that over here. And then I'll say, but let's start with the basic. Let's not start with the whole together.
Right.
So those are all like very specific questions. If they're willing and if they're serious about looking for a new solution that you might have for them, that's the kind of time that you invest in it.
The bottom line is getting to know them better, asking more questions, showing that you care, right? Giving them what they want, and little bits at a time, right? And be patient. I think that was the biggest message. And be a friend, become a friend. And I think people like having sincere friends, people that they know truly do care about them, right? And that's who we are, and that's what we want them to feel. Okay. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Appreciate you all. I think this is a great lesson, definitely to be shared to the rest of the team for those of you that did not join us tonight. But I think this is a great lesson from Jen and from Alan Blaine. So thank you all, guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.